Hey guys, Elise here, and this is just a quick video to show you how I set up my Scrivener when I am outlining and about to write a book. So I'm actually in the process of starting a new book right now. So this is the exact process that I would do for this book. So I'm going to show you exactly what it is. So I've written No Gym Needed, and now I'm about to write another book in the series. So this one is going to be about flexible dieting. So I basically just start with a completely blank document. I don't use templates because I find that each book that I do has some slightly different ways that I set it up depending on the book. So generally what I do is I will compile templates rather than actual templates for Scrivener. So I hope that makes sense, and it probably will once I get through the process of setting this up. So starting with blank document, I would use my mind map to come in and put all the grouped headings, kind of loose chapter headings in here, and I would do that using the corkboard view. So I'm just going to switch to that. So it's literally just a case of going new and then putting in this information. So I'm just going to quickly go ahead and add in all that information so that you can see how this looks right from the get-go. Hey guys, so I've just added in a couple of headings into Scrivener so that you can see how this works. Now I'm using a Mac and it's pretty simple. I will just click on the plus sign and it will start a new document, although at the moment they're all sitting under this folder here, which I will change shortly. So I just wanted to quickly show you how I put this in, because it can be a little bit confusing if you don't know how to use Scrivener, because it doesn't work exactly the same way as a word processor. So I'm just going to enter in the next sort of chapter heading so that you can see how I do that. So you'll see that it is highlighted. And I'm going to just put in the next heading now. And so I just hit the return key, and you'll notice that it doesn't automatically drop down. So the next thing that I'm going to do is pop in here and just type in the basics. And then for me to start a new line, I need to do Control Enter. If I just hit enter again, it's just going to save that card. So you need to hit Control to be able to do that. So I'll just finish this. And then I'll show you the next step. So once I've filled out or basically outlined the entire book, now I will come in and change all these cards. So I'll go through and add labels. I might even add in some document notes depending on what is required for each one. So you'll also notice that as I click on each card, those little bullet points that I've put in also come over into the synopsis. So if you were doing this in a fiction book, you would see that if you've typed in any character outlines, all of that information is there. So you can choose to hide this information if you don't want to see any of it. Document notes is always there, and you can also choose to move along here. So there are lots of different options. You can link to other parts of your document from here. This is if you wanted to add in a whole bunch of keywords, not something that I actually use. This is if you wanted to define metadata fields, and this is a really good tool that Steve and I use when we are collaborating and writing books together, is taking a snapshot of each chapter before we start making changes. So it's a really good feature and something you should definitely do, particularly as you are handing this off to an editor, is to take a snapshot so that you can see where changes have been made, particularly if your editor is awesome like ours and edits right in Scrivener for you. So the last one is just comments and footnotes. So if you make a comment in the document, this will appear here. So I generally just leave this here, and as things happen as the book progresses, some of these will make far more sense. So at this point, I would start with the introduction, And I'm going to go ahead and create my labels, and I'm going to update those as well. So I don't worry too much about page break and compile as is, because that's for formatting further down the track, and I'm not even going to worry about that at this stage. So the only things that I'm going to do is come in and edit these labels. So these are the labels that basically track for my personal use sort of where I'm at with that particular document. So I will go ahead and create one that says to do, and one that says in progress, which means I'm basically writing it, and one that says first draft. Now I'm also going to go in and change these colors. So you just double click to do that. I'm going to assign red to do. In progress is going to be an yellow, and first draft is going to be a pretty blue. And then I'm also going to add in completed. So it only gets the completed one once it's actually fully completed and edited and basically ready to be compiled. So that's how I set those up. So then I'll just click on OK and get rid of the colors. So I'm going to change this label to do, and you'll automatically see when looking at the corkboard view that it gives it this color here. I'm also going to update the status, which is to do as well, so that I can just see, it just helps me at quick glance. So I'm just going to apply that to all of these ones here because they're all at that part of the process. So this is all well and good while you're in cork binder view, but once you go in, in corkboard view, but once you go back to the binder view, none of this really makes any sense because you can't see the label in the binder. So the easiest way to do that is to go up to view, and then you're going to go use label color, and I always go binder, and that will automatically color all of these so I can quickly see where I'm at. I'm also going to change this to a folder, and I'm going to do that by coming in here and change icon, convert to folder. And then I will move things around. So this is just when I'm in the draft mode, and then as I sort of fill this all up, I'll start to move things around. So for instance, if I was starting to write in this part here about the introduction, so like I will say below, once I've finished filling out this information from my mind map, I will then come back in and just write a paragraph about this particular chapter. So this might turn out to be a chapter that has a whole bunch of subheadings in it. So I might choose to add a whole bunch of documents that then sit under that chapter. So it really just depends on how it evolves, but this is how I always start. So if I had already started writing this, so say I had done the first paragraph, I would change this to in progress. And I would still leave the status as to do, because to me it's not ready to move into first draft until it has actually been finished and I'm sort of ready for an editor to sort of take a look at it. So at that point I would move it into first draft and then also change this to first draft. And that signals to me that this part of the document is now ready to be edited. But obviously I won't hand that off to the editor until all of this is done. So I hope that kind of makes a little bit of sense. I would also, at this part of the process, before I even start sort of outlining, I would also grab research and pop it under here. So if I had some PDF documents, if I had some notes hanging out in Evernote, because I've been thinking about writing this book for a long time, I know I've got some notes in there, I would drag these all into the research here, and then for each research item I would pop some notes down here to sort of indicate where I think that might sit within the book. And it just helps to have everything all in the one spot, so I'm not having to flick between screens. So I hope that kind of makes a little bit of sense in terms of the outlining process. And as I said, when it comes to the formatting part, everything hangs out and compile, and I have a whole bunch of templates, in fact way too many now for compile, that I go through and use. So I have one set up for NGN, so that's exactly what I would use for this process, and it just makes the whole formatting part of things a lot easier, so I don't have to think about it because everything's going to look the same because it's part of a series. So I definitely encourage you to set up a formatting template in Compile for books that you're writing in a series, because then when you come to this part of the process, it is like 5 minutes to sort of get that done, and then all you have to do is change it to Kindle or PDF depending on whether you're doing a Kindle book or a CreateSpace book. So if you have any questions, just pop them down below, but this is how I use Scrivener to outline the parts of a book when I'm just getting started.